Where am I? All right, there we are. I don't know why there we go. Bam. Okay. I don't know why that didn't happen to begin with. Hi, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday evening. We're now advancing through our week quite nicely here. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz with you here. Want to bring you an update. We've done a lot of posts on it, but I just want to have kind of a face-to-face interaction in terms of what we're expecting with the storm system. And I just realized before I went on, I'm like, covered in cat hair. I don't even cats don't even lay on me. I don't know where this comes from in this house, but just a train wreck. And listen, I don't ever pretend to have it together. I don't want anyone to think that we have it together in our house. We are just a mess all the time, but we're healthy. So there's that. All right. So bonus broadcast tonight for our sponsors. We have something really exciting going on tomorrow, which I'm going to tell you about here in a second. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage is going to go. She's going to have live streaming from her backyard in Crown Point during the day tomorrow. She's doing a snow tracker, and we're going to do a broadcast tomorrow. This isn't a blockbuster storm. We talked about that. Snow totals have come down with this because the low just doesn't develop. We'll talk about that as well. But we're still going to get some snow tomorrow, and it's so exciting in a winter that hasn't had snow yet that we're going to take, if we can, technologically. We're going to take Kate live tomorrow with the snow tracker. So it's going to be exciting. And I want to add more live elements to the show just to make it more fun. And we've got the resources, and we have certainly great people in Northwest Indiana that can provide some entertainment as well, and some good resources for, snow tracking and stuff like that. But anyway, Kate's going to try her hand at that tomorrow. So make sure you tune into our broadcast tomorrow. Probably around the same time. This seems to work for us in our household. So there's that. All right. Let's say hi to everyone first. Mary's with us. Hi, Mary. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to join us. Tom says you're a busy guy. Yeah, it's that busy time of year, Tom. And I just want to make sure everyone has the messaging around these storm systems. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to over forecast it. But I just want to make sure the word is out there on exactly how this thing's going to unfold. Cindy's with us. Darlene on our YouTube channel. Ethan's with us as well on YouTube. DZ, you are as well. Thank you for that. Allison, hello. Ruth says, please downgrade the storm even more. I feel like a lot of people are upset because we're not going to get as much snow, but then there's some people that really come in super happy about it. So I don't know what to think. I'm just going to give you the forecast. Kimberly says no sound. Hopefully we've got that figured out. Shane, thank you for that. Shane says, I don't normally comment, but you do a really good job, especially for not charging people something we would pay for. Our sponsors do a great job of that. Shane, thanks for you didn't have to comment in the comment section, you did, and I really do appreciate that. Let's see. JP says, weather enthusiasts, we meet again. There's that. So, okay. All right, let's get going with the forecast here. Thank you for everyone else that's on. I could go on all day for that, but I know you guys have dinner and stuff like that. All right, so here's our storm system getting going across areas of the southwestern U.S. right now. Remember yesterday we were tracking it coming out of Oregon, little area of energy, has crossed the Four Corners region, and now it's coming out into the Plains states. There's already a winter storm ongoing, areas of West Virginia and Virginia, where they're expecting 4 to 8 inches of snow from that. We're not dealing with that storm system, but we're going to be dealing with this next one, obviously, as it gathers some Gulf of Mexico moisture and a low pressure develops. You could see the path that the storm is going to take with winter storm warnings in the pink shaded areas. We are not going to go to a warning. We are advisory level snow. All right. Advisory we can handle. That is just winter weather. That's it's problematic. It's going to get slippery outside. We're going to have some tricky travel, but it's not a winter storm by any means. And that is, yes, a downgrade from, I think, what we were all looking at a couple days ago. But I don't want to let our guard down on that because, again, it is going to get tricky around here as we go throughout the day tomorrow. All right, let's take you through it. This is the latest modeling. And I want to break down why this storm system isn't the huge storm system that the Euro and the GFS were calling for a couple days ago. Remember, 2 days ago, they were going 10, 11 inches across all of Northwest Indiana, and we didn't go that high. And I'm glad that we didn't. My biggest fear is that I underpredict a snow, and then all of a sudden we get walloped with it, and we're playing catch up, saying, "Oh, maybe a few more inches than that, a few more inches than that." Often that's not the case, right? We are usually taking totals. We're kind of backing them off a little bit. But I was thinking this is going to be a 4 to 8 incher. I really did. And it could have been the 4 side of things more so than the 8. I know we always focus on the 8. But I thought this would be a 4 to 8 incher. And I thought that yesterday, right? And then the models came in this morning is when I saw those changes. And what they're doing with this low, they're not this low is not going to be as developed as what the models were thinking it was going to be 24 to 48 hours ago. This low is going to take its time developing it. So what we want, if we want a big snow, is to have a real compact area of low pressure that rolls through. There's tremendous lift with it, and you get that really heavy band of snow on the northwest side of it. That's what we were looking at in the modeling over the last couple of days, was a low that develops. By the time it reaches Indiana, it's well developed, and you have that deformation band of snow on the back side of it that really cranks out snow, and that's how you get your higher totals, right? Well, the way this thing's going to evolve, and now that we've got a good sampling, now that it's over land, is the models have backed off on it because they keep this low from really developing. It's kind of this stretched out low. It's not organized. It's kind of a weak low pressure system that heads up, and it eventually develops once it gets into Canada. But as it goes by us, there's not tremendous lift in the atmosphere with this. It's just a general area of light to moderate snowfall. And that's pretty much where we're going to be tomorrow. This is just going to be a run-of-the-mill snow now, rather than a snow, I'll just say it, a snowstorm, all right? So that's the why behind it, all right? Here's what the modeling's doing with it. We're still expecting some snowflakes to arrive maybe tonight in waves. They'll kind of come and go as there's still some dry air eating away at it. But we'll have some snowflakes that arrive tonight. And then the bulk of it moves in tomorrow, again, later in the morning. And then by midday in the early afternoon, we should be in it. But notice there's no big low. The isobars aren't wrapped up, right? This low is elongated. You've got pretty much the same pressure from southern Indiana all the way back down towards Texas and Oklahoma. That's not a powerful low. So as a result, you get this large shield of snow still, but it lacks the real heavy stuff close to that low. So you see the snow moves in. This is now early afternoon. So this is late morning, early afternoon. And yeah, it's pretty persistent for a couple hours, and it could be light to moderate at times, just pretty steady. But overall, we're not expecting those bursts of real heavy stuff that we were looking at on the modeling the last couple of days. And then that snow, as we get towards evening, kind of winds down a bit, and it should be out of here pretty quickly. So again, pretty quick system and a lot of light to moderate snow with this, which is really going to negate some of the bigger impacts on area roadways. But I do think we get snow covered, especially untreated roads. And I do think, especially side roads, it will be tricky outside, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. And then the one thing to watch, the lake effect potential has ramped up just a little bit with this. There's likely to be some lake enhancement ongoing in Wisconsin back towards Illinois with this. I don't think we'll get the lake enhanced part, which is where you have system snow already falling, and then the wind's coming off the lake in a way that it's adding to that snowfall. And you get some heavier totals with that. But I think with the northeast wind, it's going to target more Illinois and Wisconsin if that were to happen, so we wouldn't have to worry about that. But then when the system heads out, you can see how there's a lake effect band of snow that's still ongoing from within that storm system. And that looks to, as the winds kind of traverse across the lake, they'll go more from northeast to north, eventually northwest. That would bring some of that lake effect in here tomorrow night. It looks very brief, if anything. But you notice on Thursday morning, waking up and then into the midday hours, we have a little area of snow showers that rotates through. And that may add maybe another inch to our totals, but we're not looking at a lot. We're really not. So how much snow are we looking at with this storm system? Look at how the numbers have backed off. And this isn't typical. A lot of people think, oh, these winter storms, they're over forecasted. You've got these huge snow totals, and then they back off last minute. That happens, yes, but this is pretty tremendous in how far this is backed off because of the strength of that low. It was severely overestimated in the modeling, all right? And this is still a forecast. I mean, this isn't happening now, so we're still forecasting this storm system. So we're not wrong. No meteorologist is wrong in this. The forecast has just changed. Where we find out if we're wrong or not is tomorrow once it happens, right? So we're still in forecasting mode with this, but I'm telling you, those numbers have really backed off. And the latest HRRR has anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. That's about it, with maybe another inch getting us up to 5 with some of that lake effect as it briefly moves through. The HRRR is not the only model we look at. We also look at the NAM Nest, which continues to be on the heavier side. Notice the NAM Nest still has a nice little area, of 7-8 inches of snow. I do think it's overdone. I like where we're sitting with our 2 to 5, maybe 6 if things go well with this. But I really have a feeling everyone's going to fall into like that 2 to 4 range, and that 5 and 6 is going to be an exception. All right. And that's, again, going with just how the system's looking and how it's going to look on radar as it moves through without that strong developed low. But for those that are snow lovers, there's still a chance. I mean, again, NAM Nest, this is model output 24 hours out. So we ought to be getting accurate at this point. It's painting a good 6 to 8 inches across the region. So we'll see what wins with this, but that's kind of what we're dealing with. And again, the time frame of worst travel tomorrow, or trickiest travel, we'll say that, is going to be starting midday and then really into the afternoon, and that evening rush hour is going to be impacted with it as well. Okay, so that's what we've got tomorrow. I do want to jump forward to this weekend storm system because I don't want to let our guard down around that. Before I get to the weekend storm system, temperatures can't be overlooked, right? We're going to turn a little bit colder behind the system into the 20s midweek, but then there's another shot of Arctic air coming, and this arrives behind this weekend system. This weekend system to me has a lot more oomph to it. There's a lot more moisture with it as well. And the potential's there for more impactful weather this weekend. And part of the reason for that is it's being driven by this Arctic air, which is diving into the country. The system that we have here tomorrow, there's not really cold air coming in behind it. It's pretty much just a wave of moisture and energy that's going to be going through. But this weekend, we've got cold air diving in. There's a surge of warmth out of the Gulf. So we're going to spin up a real decent storm this weekend. And it still is to be determined kind of where we fall in that. But I want to show you the potential with it. But the one thing that's a lock in the forecast, the snow and the track of the low this weekend is not a lock yet, all right? So that's going to continue to fluctuate, but we'll show you potential at this point. But the one thing that is a lock is the Arctic air coming in. That is not going to change. And next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday, we could have some of the coldest weather we've had all winter so far, with temperatures getting down in the single digits for highs, lows below zero, and then wind chill values in the -10 to -20 degree range. There's a shot of Arctic air coming our way. And I know, well, I would assume that most of you are like me and that I'm waiting for a warm up. Like I need a little taste of what we could have this time of year. And oftentimes February will bring 50s, and oftentimes we'll have a 60-degree day in February. And I just don't see that happening. And you look at this, remember, February is a short month. We're going up through the end of the month, and we're talking cold weather again. So it has been a very cold January across the country, and we're trending very cold February as well. Pretty amazing to stack two of those together, especially the trends really the last 5 to 10 years. So not a big warm up in the forecast. In fact, we get colder with some Arctic air coming our way next week. All right, let's talk weekend storm system, and then I'll be happy to answer your questions that you've got either on tomorrow's storm system, or we can talk that weekend one as well. So here's what we're dealing with for the weekend. Here's the storm system that goes by tomorrow. That heads out. We quiet down for Valentine's Day. Still good for cuddling. It's going to be still on the chilly side. And then here's our weekend system. It looks like really two waves of energy. There's a northern wave of energy that comes in, and then it kind of awaits for a southern wave as well. The whole thing kind of prolongs the precip availability for us. So this isn't anything like the storm system we have tomorrow, where we've got just precip that's going to move through and it's out. All right. That's very quick tomorrow. It's going to be quick snow in and out. This weekend's going to linger for a while. So the latest Euro is kind of the warmer solution with this. And it brings snow in here Friday night, some snow. All right. And then that snow continues on Saturday, mainly early as the first wave kind of pulls away. And then a new low pressure develops down towards Arkansas. And we may have continuous precip, but it does look to kind of back off as they split. The two different entities kind of split. And the Euro has us going kind of rain and snow mix by later Saturday. So we would start with some snow, and then things would kind of warm up a little bit. We turn over to some rain snow for a bit before cold air starts to come in Saturday night and Sunday. That cold air coincides with a strong area of low pressure, which the models have picked up on nicely. This is a lot different than the one we're dealing with tomorrow. And we're still in the sweet spot for snow with this. And that would be Saturday night into Sunday. We can get some good snow. And then we have Arctic cold coming across with some lake effect potential on into Sunday night and Monday. And then you can see next week, maybe a couple little clipper systems coming through. We stay on the cold side, as we showed you, with maybe some kind of southern storm that would miss us at this point, but that would bring snow to areas like Tennessee and the Carolinas with that cold air in place all the way down to the south. Okay, so that's kind of how it evolves. Again, everything kind of starts Friday night into Saturday, and then we have to deal with precip types throughout the day Saturday before we change over to snow. I do want to show you the GFS, though. GFS is a colder solution, and you can see it starts with a pretty good burst of snow Friday night into Saturday. It backs off a little bit as that second wave kind of catches up, and then it keeps us in more snow Saturday night into Sunday, with the low not really developing till it gets out towards the east. But we would have persistent snow Friday night all the way through Sunday morning at this point, with cold air coming in behind that. There's your southern system. It too is picking up on as well. And then the last solution I want to show you is the Canadian model. Always fun to look at, never fun to trust. In terms of the modeling here, it brings some snow in here Friday night into Saturday morning, backs it off a little bit with some rain snow mix. I like that solution. And then we turn towards snow, but this develops just east of us with a whopping snowstorm for Indianapolis out towards Ohio on the backside as that cold air comes in. But you kind of see the evolution of that. Too early to call the track on this, but we know the potential's there for a good snow out of this. How much snow are we, potentially looking at? Again, we'll take this with a grain of salt, but notice as we get into the weekend, it's got pretty good totals coming through. This is about a 4 to 8 inches, says the Euro. Remember, we're adding to what's going to fall tomorrow on here. The GFS is our snowiest solution, saying upwards of a foot of snow possible by next Monday. And then the Canadian, well, it's got snow everywhere because it's a Canadian model, but you get the idea, anywhere from 8 to 12 out of that. So we've got the potential, at least, that exists for a pretty decent snowfall as we get into the weekend here in the region. And don't forget, on the backside of that, we get really cold around here Monday, at least Monday through Wednesday. GFS likes to warm us up by Thursday. Euro keeps us cold. Okay, so there's that. All right, so that's what we're dealing with weather-wise. We'll let this run in terms of kind of taking us through how this storm is going to evolve tomorrow as it moves in. Snow moves in, snow moves out. Again, it'll get a little tricky around here, but shouldn't be too big of a deal. Okay, all right, so let's answer your questions if you've got them. Tammy, I think we answered that for you. What's Saturday looking like? Hopefully that helped. Yeah, Adrian saying collective bummer for everyone who works in education, open for a snow day. I'm hoping that, maybe they give you a snow day anyway, just because, we haven't had much to talk about other than cold, a couple days that were canceled due to the cold, but we'll see. And you know what? If I were superintendent tomorrow, it's going to be a tough call. Normally I'd say, yes, don't do school. No, don't do school. But I would say, my goodness, this is probably the only snow that we've been able to even think about having a snow day with. So why not give the kids a day off, unless that causes more problem for the parents? So there's that. Whiting Public Library, you're absolutely welcome. Thanks for sharing our post earlier. I do appreciate that. And guys, pay the libraries a visit. I'll tell you, this is great. This is such a great season. I've got my kids at the library at least once a week, checking out books, checking in books, finding books that we had underneath the couch for a couple months. They're very forgiving, but I'll tell you, the library is such an amazing resource, even this day and age, with modern technology and all that stuff. Libraries have advanced as well, and you can rent things, you can learn things, and all the branches are different. But man, the libraries is such an amazing resource that, as a parent of 4 kids, our kids are very involved, and they all have their own library cards. So there's that. So I appreciate all you do there at the Whiting Public Library. All right. Tom says, driving around 4:30 tomorrow from East St. John to Burns Harbor to work overnight. Hopefully NDOT will be on top of this Saturday night too. Yeah. So you should be okay, Tom. I think things will be improving. We'll have snow at least at the beginning of that drive, but your drive home should be a little bit better. So that's some good news for that, for sure. All right. Mean Streak says, would rather have snow than cold. Yes. I agree with that statement. If it's going to be cold, it might as well snow, is what I've always said. So there's that. Let's see. JP says temperatures have been more traditional of winter this year. A few cold spells, no real hints of any warm-ups. Snow total still below average season to date. JP, absolutely. Yeah, this has been like winters of old. I was reminiscing with someone on Facebook earlier about at least looking at it. I wasn't alive yet, and now it's going to date myself. But the winter of 78 was a bad one, right? And I was just looking at the stats, and the cold was relentless. It was relentless in 77 as well, but 78 obviously was one of the bigger winters, and we had the major winter storms But that was one of those winters where there was no time for snow to melt, and it never warmed up. And this winter, we've been spoiled last couple of years, right? We've had these warm-ups with just like 2 or 3 days of cold. We never kept the snow that we did get. And, we're back to we've been spoiled last couple of winters. So we're back to kind of how winter is, right? It started in January this year with the cold, and it just hasn't kind of backed off very much. And I don't see that changing, at least through the end of the month. Hopefully March will bring us some warmer days. But we're getting there fast. I mean, you think about it. Back in I think it was 2014, I was at Lakeshore Public Television as a meteorologist there doing broadcasts in Maryville. And I remember that year, I believe it was 2014. It was March. We got multiple days in the 80s. I'm talking like 7 or 8 at least that we were breaking records, and they were 80s in a row. And I remember that year, it was mid-March, and we had leaves coming out on trees, and we were in shorts. I lived in downtown Chicago at the time, and I remember just going out. I was college shape, so didn't wear a shirt, but I'm a runner, and I would go out and just run along the lakeshore in March, and I was sweating. I remember how hot it was, but we're not far off from that potential. That potential's there where we can certainly get some warmer days in March, and we're going to flip the corner pretty fast, but man, just taking its time, isn't it? Maxwell, it's hard to do. Yeah, single-digit highs are not as common in February as you think. They're more common, obviously, in January. Teens can become very common in February. I was going over the last 10 years in terms of Februaries. Teens are common, but single digits are actually hard to do. So we may be pushing some daytime record low highs, if that makes sense, as we go into the next week. We'll see. So that's that. Okay, well, I think I've answered everything. Yeah. JP, was it March 2012 or was it 2014? It was one of those 2 years we had that stretch of 80s. I'm not one of those meteorologists that remembers dates really well. I can't remember yesterday's high. Some meteorologists have just an amazing ability to remember history. I am not one of those, and there's a couple more like me. So there's that. Peggy says, I agree. Give the kids a snow day and us teachers. Yeah, you guys need a break. I know we've got a long weekend coming up, but still, you need a break. I get it. So there's that. All right. I think that's all we've got for you. So again, thanks for tuning in. I hope this is helpful. I always want these to be helpful for you guys in terms of what to expect. So we're still going to be impacted tomorrow. I don't want to let our guard down on this. But again, this is not going to be a blockbuster winter storm tomorrow. We're not going to end up with a ton of snow out of this either, as it's just going to move too fast, and it's not strong enough of a low compared to what we were looking at. This weekend's going to be something else to watch. And then speaking of something else to watch, tomorrow we'll do another broadcast. We'll kind of take you through radar update, who's got snow, who doesn't, how are things panning out compared to how we forecasted it. And also make sure you tune in tomorrow because we're going to go live with Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. She's going to be doing a snow tracker at her house, and it's only her husband that knows technology. So that means things could go haywire in a hurry, and we're actually going to bring our first guest onto the show tomorrow. So what could go wrong, right? We'll see. So that'll be fun. And again, I'll be around this same time right before your dinner. Okay. All right. You guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule to join us. And we'll keep you updated as we go throughout this system and the one this upcoming weekend as well. All right. Thanks, guys.